G'day everyone, Daniel Anderson here. Welcome to this episode. A little bit of a different one for you today. We're going to take a bit of a deep dive into Power Automate and some new for selected message triggers that have been released for Microsoft Teams. And we're going to integrate that into Microsoft ToDo. So a lot of times when you're in Teams, there's a lot of messages coming in. You might be using the Save This Message feature, but you might want a more structured approach to following up on different messages. So what we're going to build out is a little thing that I've actually just started using myself, where I can select a message and I can post a task or a follow-up in Microsoft ToDo. All right, so it's pretty easy for you to implement, and I'm going to step you through that process now. So I hope this brings you some value, and let's get stuck in. So you can see here that I'm in Power Automate here, and what I'm going to do is let's just set the scene first. So I've got ToDo, and I've got a special list here that's called follow up on, just for this example. I've got my Teams UI here, so we can see that I'm a member of a number of different teams. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create this flow. All right, so I'm just going to jump into create, and I'm going to have choose from an instant flow. Now, when I click on instant flow, you can see here I've got the option to choose this one here, which is for a selected message in Microsoft Teams. And I'm going to create that now. All right. So we've now got the trigger all sorted. Now I'm just going to build this out, and we'll come back to this adaptive card in just a sec. So after I selected a specific message, what I want to do is I want to create a to-do item. So I'm going to click on new step, and I'm just going to search for to-do, and I'm going to create a to-do item. All right, so you can see here that we've got a number of different options that we can choose from here, but the one that I specifically want to choose is I want to add a to-do. All right, so we're going to choose that, and you can see here now I've got some fields that I can set out and fill out. Now the subject is going to be, I'm going to change the adaptive card in just a minute to allow me to enter in a title or a subject of this to-do. I can now choose from my to-do list, and I'm going to choose the follow-up on list, and I've got a number of different options here. Now importance, I'm just going to set to normal. I'm just going to fill out a couple of different things here, and I'll just choose not started, and we'll come back to the body content in a minute. Now the first thing I'm going to do is name this flow, and I'm just going to give it a name of create a to-do from Teams. All right, let's just keep it at that name. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back into the trigger here, and what I can do here is I can create now an adaptive card. Now, what that's going to mean is when I select a message and I select this flow from Teams, it's going to prompt me for some information. Okay, so I'm just going to remove what is being presented to me here. I'll leave that. I'll just remove these text boxes, because actually let's remove it all and we'll start from scratch. Okay, so let's start from nothing. All right, so let's just put in a new text block, and let's go for create a to-do. So we'll enter in this text, and the next thing I want to do is that I want to give a title. So let's pop the input text option here, and I just want to give, let's just pop this up here, and we'll give this text box a name. Enter the subject. Now we need to give this an ID, so we're going to set this as the ID of text subject. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to add also a date, input date as well. All right, so that's going to allow us to set the, if I jump into ToDo here, what we want to set when we go to create a to-do is if I just enter in this here, what we want to do is we want to add a due date. All right, so this is the field that we want to populate with some input. All right, so let me just delete that. So what I want to do here is let's name this due date. And again, we need to give an ID for this input. Let's go due date. And let's now save that and let's have a look at what we get. All right, so what we want to do here, let's just continue building this out. I want to add some dynamic data in here. So I want to add the subject that we enter in, that we request as input into there. And I want to set the due date to the date that I post, that I input in that adaptive card. So let's now save that out. Now, what we're going to do now is let's jump into Teams, and I'm just going to refresh this. And now when I select a message in Teams under more actions, I'm going to have another option here that says create to do. All right. So, and when I select this, what happens is that adaptive card is going to pop up for me. And now what I can do is my task, and I can set a due date, which will go the end of this month, and we'll submit that off. All right. So now that's been submitted, let's jump back into Power Automate here. We'll jump into and have a look at the history here, and we can see that it's succeeded. Now, if I jump back into ToDo here, it just takes a couple of seconds for this to come through and appear on this list. Now, once it appears on this list, we'll have a look at the information that appears. All right. So let's just wait for that to come through, and it's just come through now. And when I click on that, you can see the task is titled with what I inputted, and also the due date is what I inputted as well. All right. So now what we're going to do, let's jump back into and edit this Power Automate. Let's just pull out some more information from that Teams message. So in the ToDo body content, what I want to do is I want to add the context. I want to add the content of that message. All right, so let's have a look at the dynamic data here and what we can get from Teams. We can see here that we've got message content, we've got plain text message content. So I'm going to choose the plain text message content here, and we're going to add that to the body of the ToDo item there. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop in here the link back to that message. So I'm just going to go and select link to message. And let's just give this a bit of a bold option here. Now let's save that off. All right, so we've saved that. Let's just jump back into Teams, and let's have a look now at the new flow. So we'll jump back into this message. Actually, what we'll do, let's choose a different one. Let's choose this one up the top. We'll go more actions. We'll go create a to-do. What's this one? Update your regional report. So let's go update regional report. We'll give it a due date. Same day, we'll go Friday, and we'll submit that. Now, once that's submitted, again, let's just jump back in and have a look at the history. And you can see that it's succeeded again. We'll jump back into ToDo, and let's just mark this one off. We've completed that. Nice sound of ToDo there. And then we've now got this new task here of update regional report. We've now got the due date. We've got the actual contents of the conversation from Teams. And we've now also got this link to the message as well. All right. So if we now pop that in the browser, we can see here, I'm just going to open that up in the web. We can see here that I'm taken directly to that message. And I've also, it also highlights it in yellow. So it takes us directly to that report, to that message, sorry. Okay. Pretty nice, little piece of functionality there. All right. So you can see there that we've got a lot of flexibility and capabilities there to use the for a selected message, trigger in Power Automate to select a message. We can then also post that and create a follow-up in Microsoft ToDo to be able to then have a more structured way of following up on any posts that I need to. Because as we know, day in, day out, we're in Teams, lots of messages cropping up. You may not have time. You might be running to a meeting. You might be in the middle of doing some other work, but we can now move that from Teams into ToDo, and we can follow up on that message if there's anything that we need to in ToDo as well. All right. So I hope that brings you some value. And I hope you can start to think about how you can use that trigger. You can see that it's nice and easy to set up. No coding, no developers or anything like that. We can just use the UI and build out some pretty nice functionality that's going to help you keep on top of things. So again, I hope that brings you some value, and I'll see you in the next episode.